Hi, this is Susie Iverson, otherwise known as Susie Q Scraps. Today I'm going to show you how you can make a layered paper title and how you can use the same idea to create a sticker effect. I've opened a new document, 12 by 12 at 300 ppi, and dragged in this green paper just as kind of a backdrop so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to grab my text tool to begin with, either by clicking over here on the text or by hitting T on the keyboard, and I'm going to zoom in so you can see what I'm doing here. Well, first let's choose our font. I'm working with Century Gothic. You can choose any font that you want. This generally works better on a thicker or bolder font. So I'm using Century Gothic and I've picked the bold option. And let's do a font size around 120. And you can click and drag a text, or which I do if I'm journaling, so I can decide how wide I want it. If I'm just doing a one-word title, I'll just click and then type the word that I want. So I'm just going to type the word happy. We have the beginnings of our layered paper title. We can use this as the mat and create a selection that we can make smaller to go on top to make our top paper layer, or we can create a selection that's bigger and put it on the bottom and turn it into the mat and use our text layer as our top paper layer. So the first thing I'm going to do is exchange my color chips here, so I've got a different color than this dark blackish brown that was used for the text. You can either click these double arrows here, or you can hit X on your keyboard to switch, so that now white is my main color. Then I'm going to hold down Control and click on the thumbnail of this layer so that it selects each of these letters in the text. Let's start by making this selection smaller and using the dark layer as our mat. So we're going to go to Select, Modify, Contract. And I'm just going to do 10 pixels and click OK. Zoom in so you can see that we went slightly smaller around, so now Happy is our matte layer. I'm going to click a new layer on top and hit Alt Backspace to fill it with the white color fill, and then Control D. So the white layer is our top layer that we could apply a paper to, and our text layer, the dark black brown color, is on the bottom to be our mat. This will make your top letters look skinnier than they normally would. And you keep the letter size for the bottom. This will keep your sharp edges. You can see here that the letter's made, because as you contract or expand, those edges are going to get rounded. So like this corner became kind of a rounded edge. So now let's take a look at what would happen if we used our text layer as our top layer, so we could keep these letter shapes and made the selection bigger to go underneath as our mat. So again, it's Control and then click on the thumbnail. This time we're going to go to Select, Modify, Expand. I'm going to go with 15 pixels and click OK. So now you can see that I made this bigger around, and it's going to round off the edges. That's about how it would look if you were doing this in real life on paper, cutting around letters. Then I want to create a new layer below this time. So you can either click on the new layer icon and drag it below, or you can use the shortcut, which I prefer, and that's to hold Control and click on the new layer icon, and it automatically pop that below. And then again, Alt Backspace to fill our selection. Now it's underneath, and then Control D to deselect. Now you can see here with the white that I chose how this could be a sticker effect. If you didn't want it that thick, let me hide this layer. Control click on the thumbnail. Select Modify, Expand. We could do just 10 pixels and make it skinnier. And then because this layer is active, I want to click a new layer above it that's still below this. Alt Backspace to fill. And you can see how you end up with sticker effects. I could create a new layer on top of my text and clip it, hitting Control G, and maybe choose another color like a red. Alt Backspace to fill, and you can see how you could change the color of your stickers pretty easily. Or you could put a pattern in there, like this paper. Clip it, and you've got kind of a patterned sticker effect. If I don't want it to look like a sticker, then what I'll do is I'll keep my patterned paper on top, but on this layer below, I'll drag a different paper to be that color and hit Control G to clip it to my white layer. So now I've got the purple layer below as my mat and the plaid on top. If I like how it looks, I'll hit I'll click on this white text layer and click on the purple layer and hit Control E to merge those layers. Then I'll do the same with these two. Click on both by hitting Control and then Control E to merge. Then I can add a shadow. So I'm just going to start with this low shadow, which is too big. Maybe change the size to 8 and the distance to 5. And then click OK. As you can see now, there's a shadow from this paper onto the purple one that's giving it some dimension. I can copy that layer style by right-clicking and choosing Copy Layer Style, then right-click and choose Paste Layer Style. So now that this has dimension now. So that's one way you can do those letters. Let me hide those. I'm going to duplicate this one so that we can use it with the smaller one. So I'm going to clear the layer style that's on it. I'm going to drag the purple layer to it, Control G to to clip, and then drag the plaid paper on top of the skinnier letters and hit Control G to clip. Same idea, and you can merge those together. Oops. Starting with the bottom one. And I could paste the same layer style to those. So that's with the skinnier letters. Here it is with our top letters the same size as the text, and then our bottom layer bigger. I'm going to clear the layer style on just the bottom layer and then merge these together and show you something else you can do once you've gotten to this step. So those are now merged by using Control E. I'm going to grab my marquee tool, which is over here. You can hit M on your keyboard. And I'm going to cut out each of these letters. So I'm going to select the H, then hit Control X to cut and Control V to paste. That puts the H on its own layer. To come back to my main word and cut out the other letters. So again, that's Control X to cut, Control V to paste. You can hide them if they're getting in your way. Make sure you're selected on the word layer and then Control X, Control V to paste. If you've got Control selected, you'll see that the marquee tool changes to the move tool, and so you can just click on that layer to get back to it. Now if I try to use my marquee tool on this letter P, you'll see I'm going to cut off part of that Y. So instead I'll switch to my lasso tool, which allows me to kind of freehand my selection. So I'll draw around the letter and then again Control X to cut, Control V to paste. Now I've got all these letters on separate layers. This allows me to be able to rotate them, stack them on top of each other, move them around, change which layers on top of which layer if I wanted to do that, and kind of make a more fun title. And then I generally will select all of those letters that make up that word and link them together so that if I were to click on one part of it, I would move the whole part. And then of course to add dimension, you're going to want to select all of those and you're going to want to add a shadow to them. I guess it won't let me add a shadow to multiple layers, so we'll just double click on one, copy the layer style, and then select all the others and paste it. And then you can see that we've added this title with dimension, and there's a shadow too on this paper layer. So you could either leave it as the one word, or you could cut the letters out and move them around like an alpha. And again, you could at the step where after you've selected your text, let me go to my history palette. Where did it go? Here it is. I could go back a few steps. See how far it lets me go. Back to this step where we created more of a sticker effect too without putting a shadow on that top layer. If you have any questions about how to create these layered paper titles or anything else covered in this video, please email me, susieqscraps@gmail.com, or visit my website, susieqscraps.com. Thanks.